it's kind of your duty as a father to not marry your daughter's friends. That's one of your duties. That you should not do that.
Not a dad, don't
So,
know, but I feel like I agree.
hey everyone, my name's Nick.
And I'm Ray, and today we're going to be talking about episode 2, House of the Dragon. Give our nice little dandy review. Nick has not seen the full season. I have, so any predictions will only be from his part, and I will keep from spoiling the show for him and any other viewer here. With that, what were your thoughts?
I really enjoyed this episode. It was fun. One thing that I kind of have to get past in my own head is at like my first, I'm just gonna say it, my first gut feeling is like, ugh, I hate all this drama because of being female. But then I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, I guess. But yeah, overall, I really, aside from that at first, and then I got past it. Overall, I really like this episode.
Yeah, I think they do the plight of the female in this pretty well. I mean, Rhaenys is not a weak character by any means. Rhaenyra is young, but there's makings of a very intellectual person there from what you can tell already. I mean, she bringing up good ideas and then they just get swatted aside. And it's like, oh, thanks, Otto Hightower, for being a cunt.
And in that case, so whenever her father does it, I don't see that as like a pushback of because she is a girl. I see that as a pushback because he sees her as a child. So, I'm not saying that for the other characters like Otto Hightower. I guess he's really the only one. Maybe the other, like, what's the
Small
other
council.
Yeah, the other huskier guy on the small council. I don't even know his name. Like maybe from him as well. But but from her father, the king, that's just him seeing her as a child.
Yeah, which we get later on in the episode. He's like, I forget how much like your mother you are, and I didn't realize my daughter has grown into a woman, essentially, right? Which, okay, cool. From this though, let's go ahead and start off with some of the tasty shit right off the bat. Good old crabs eating people.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a focus of this episode, but they did start with that scene. I mean, just weird crab people. Weird people of the crabs, I guess you could call them.
Crab
Yeah.
people.
That's what I was thinking of whenever I saw them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're basically just pirates, right? That are stopping the shipping lane. The king and the small council are scared to do anything about it because they seem to have the backing of the free cities. But Corlys, he's like super pissed about it because finally one of his ships got hit, and then he ends up meeting with the king's brother later on, and like if he loses these ships, he's gonna go bankrupt basically.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it is definitely Corlys's problem right off the bat. I mean, where his family lives, the stronghold that is his to defend. And he comes asking for help, He's like, hey, these shipping lanes are kind of critical.
Yeah.
You have the king, small council doing the whole, well, we don't want to start an open war with the free cities. Okay, cool, understandable, but you still have to do something about it. So I like the pushback Corlys was giving because it's showing that A, he has a backbone, but also B, that the king allows backbone to an extent. It's not just like off with the head right off the bat for disrespect and shit.
Sure, right off the bat, but I mean, we see that the hand of the king, Otto Hightower, is like of that mindset because that first scene, whenever he comes in, like, hey, what the fuck? I just lost a bunch of ships. What are you gonna do about it? And he's like, hey, back off, dude. Basically, like.
Yeah, I gotta admit, even when I first started watching the show, I hated Otto Hightower, but he is definitely good at what he does. He's a good little schemer is what he is, and I got that from the very moment I saw him. But man, I hate people like that so much.
And that's where I think the king has a lot of his issues coming from, is he doesn't have that ability of mind or that mindset that this is happening underneath him. I just don't think he even realizes that Otto Hightower is manipulating him, is trying to basically usurp his power, it seems like.
Yeah, which one of those things that causes that is what we see from Viserys is he is at least inside, trying to be a good person, and he trusts his good friend Otto Hightower. Unfortunately, I mean, the series is Game of Thrones for a reason, right? And he's just totally getting taken advantage of, and he can't see it because that's his good friend. And Otto Hightower definitely is 100% trying to usurp. He pimped out his daughter and sent him we see at the end of this episode what happens. But before we talk about the marriage, let's go ahead and talk about Lord Corliss's proposal of the 12-year-old daughter, Laena
Mm-hmm.
Valerian. Politically smart. I mean, 100%. That's the smart move. However, I'm with Viserys. I'm not trying to marry no 12-year-old.
I totally understand that. And right, what really should have happened is he should have been like, "Hey, I understand this and I'm fine with marrying your daughter, but we're going to wait a few years
Yeah.
cuz I'm not down with that. There's no reason I lost my wife and my newborn son 6 months ago. Give me a minute, okay?
Yeah.
I understand there's a kingdom under me, but no one needs to see me marry a 12-year-old. I don't care."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, given his decision on what he did, I think he should have married her.
Yeah, so we see throughout the episode, I mean, Rhaenys comes back in and she talks to Rhaenyra, and she's like, "Are you really okay with your father remarrying? You know, blah blah blah, all that." And
Mhm.
Rhaenyra, you see throughout the episode, actually comes to terms with it for the most part. You know, she has a good talk with her dad, and then
Mhm.
boom, Viserys comes in and says, "Hey, so yeah, I'm gonna remarry." Corlys is all like, "Ah, hell yeah, dude," you know. And then you see Alicent in the corner just like, you know, and then boom, to marry Lady Alicent Hightower. Immediately, you see Otto just have a shit-eating grin. Corlys gets pissed off, and you see Rhaenyra feel betrayed because that is
Yeah.
her best friend. Viserys marrying his daughter's best friend's kind of weird, for sure.
Majorly weird.
But I
And
like it
and
more than the 12-year-old, so there's that.
correct me if I'm wrong though. She's supposed to be 15, correct?
I think they're 16. Yeah, I think there's 15, 16 right
Okay.
now, which is still better than 12.
So, looking at just the numbers, sure, 15 or 16 is better than 12. I don't think that this is the better decision.
It's not. No, straight up, it's not the
Um,
better decision.
Politically or morally. I think that morally it would have been I would have been more okay with him morally to be like, "Look, I am only marrying this 12-year-old girl for political reasons. I'm not fucking touching her. I'm not doing anything for a decade to come. And this is purely political. Boom, that's it." Instead, he's like, I don't want to. I'm going to go with my heart and marry my daughter's 15 or 16-year-old best friend instead. Like,
Yeah, it's still a little
it,
sussy, but at the same time,
to me, it's worse. To me, it's worse because that's what he wants to do. The other one, he doesn't want to do it. If he has to do it, that's like, dude, I get it. You're the king. You have to do this. The other one,
yeah,
he wants to do it, and that's weirder. That's even worse to me.
that's fair. Both are weird. Both are weird
Both
decisions, man.
Let me clarify, I am not okay with either of them. It's pedophilia. Boom.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it. Let
yeah,
me just clear that up right now.
yeah. We're not fans of either choice here.
Hmm.
Um, but definitely Lena Valerian was the smarter political move, considering they
Hmm.
would, you know, cement the two Valerian houses. And what are you going to do? But the Hightowers also have some political sway. So, I mean,
Hmm.
that's a powerful alliance, too, but they were already second in charge, you know, with the Hand of the King
Yeah.
position. So, you're not really benefiting anything from that.
Right.
Now, from this, we witness Rhaenyra all start sulking. Now her friendship is probably toast, right? She's
Yeah.
pissed, dude. 100% she's pissed. Is she not?
Yeah. Understandably so as well. Deceived by her father, deceived by her best friend. And, I understand her best friend is being used by her father and is probably extremely embarrassed about what is happening. So
Hmm.
I understand why she wouldn't tell her, but there still is some deceit involved, and
Yeah.
that's potentially unforgivable.
Yeah, if my best friend started dating my mom, I would be not too happy about it.
Pretty upset.
Yeah.
Even if your best friend was like, "Hey, my dad's making me do it.
I would,
Sorry."
yeah, I would still be
It's
unhappy
still
because now I'm like, dude, now you're my stepdad. I hate that about our friendship. You know, no.
Yep.
Um, but so what else was big that happened. We're talking a lot about marriages. Who else had a marriage?
Yeah, yeah. What's his name? Dang it, I know
Daemon
Dimitri.
Targaryen.
Damon. Yeah. Honestly, I thought that this whole thing was cool. I like the storyline that's going on here, or this dynamic. Damon's basically just like trying to get his brother's attention.
Yep.
Um, he announces the wedding to his whore.
Mistress, lady of the
to
night. Okay.
to his okay. He announces his wedding to his mistress, who is apparently pregnant with his child. He goes and steals the dragon egg that was set under his now deceased
Nephew.
boy, or that was chosen for his now deceased nephew. Yeah,
Hmm.
and yeah, it was a pretty cool showdown, though. Might I say?
It was. I'm so glad too that so we see King Viserys. He gets the
Hmm.
news that the egg had been stolen, and he's like, ah, "Fuck, what do I do about this? I don't want to do anything." And they're all just like squabbling, saying dumb
Hmm.
shit. You know, King's like, "I'll go," or no, sorry. Rhaenyra's like, "Hold on." What egg did they take? What egg did he
Yeah.
take? Because I know Daemon, and Daemon's kind of an asshole, right? What egg did he take? Oh, the egg for Daemon or Aegon, you know, and that pissed Viserys off. Actually pissed the king off, and he was like, "All right, well, fuck it, I'm going." Otto Hightower's like, "No, you can't go. I'll fucking go. I'm the hand of the king." I'm
Yeah.
so glad Rhaenyra fucking went because that
Yeah.
changed that whole power dynamic there.
Yeah, and first off, I just want to say it was awesome seeing the two dragons there, and it was cool getting that scale because I didn't realize in the first episode how much bigger the uncle's Damon's,
Caraxes.
yeah, how much bigger that dragon is. I didn't realize like it was two or three times as big as the one that Rhaenyra's riding, so that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, the
And
older
if,
the dragon, the bigger they get. Vagar's the oldest dragon right now. Hasn't been seen yet in the
Mhm.
series. But Vagar is massive compared to Caraxes. And then, God, I don't. What's her dragon's name? I don't remember. My memory finally failed me on random character names.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so Rhaenyra shows up in this cool fucking fashion, you know, flying under,
Hmm.
saves the day because Otto was gonna get his ass kicked there,
Yep.
and they just start speaking some High Valyrian, which sounds dope,
Hmm.
and you hear, you know, she says like, "Oh, so you're pregnant and you steal my brother's egg, blah blah blah," and his wife to be just gets pissed off and walks off
Hmm.
because she didn't know about any of this shit. Um, and Daemon, I mean, there's still some tension there between the two, but Rhaenyra calls him out and is like, "Hey, I'm right here. The object of your ire, like, just strike me down, you know, and you're
Yeah.
back on the throne." And
Can't
he
do it,
didn't.
or he doesn't do it. And not only does he not do it, he gives the egg back too.
Mm-hmm. So,
Because
it, go ahead.
because again, I was just gonna say, I mean, he's just trying to get his brother's attention, right? His
Yeah.
brother didn't show up. He was pissed off about that. But yeah, exactly. Seeing that dynamic happen where it's like, look, he doesn't seem to want the throne. He wants to talk to his brother. At least at this point, that's what I'm seeing. He wants to talk to his brother because if he wanted the throne, he would have just killed his niece, right? If
Mm-hmm.
he was that power hungry for it. And I mean, he's that big of an asshole that he probably would have.
Yeah.
Um, like I can't imagine he would have any issue with killing someone in his family
Yeah.
with how blurred his moral lines are, but he doesn't do it. So his motives obviously at this point are not the crown.
Mm-hmm.
So
We see
yeah.
some other interesting things, right? Rhaenyra and Daemon's relationship is super interesting. Daemon and Viserys's relationship is very intriguing
Hmm.
because it feels like the younger brother that just wants the attention of the older brother. You know, he keeps messing up time and again, and he just
Hmm.
wants to, like, you know, have his brother's approval. It's kind of what it feels like. However,
Yeah.
there's also the power hungriness that you feel from him.
Yep. And then at the end, on that same line, whenever he's talking to man, I forget his name, the other Valerian guy, right?
Corlys.
Corlys. Whenever he's talking to Corlys at the end, and Corlys is like bad mouthing the king, he's like, hey, you don't get to talk about him like that.
Yeah.
Only I get to.
Yeah,
So
it's the classic. I get to talk shit on my siblings. You don't. All right.
yeah. Yeah. So even though he was disowned, disinherited, his brother's pissed, he wouldn't even show up to answer his
call.
challenge, basically. Yeah, his call. And yet he still doesn't let somebody else talk, or doesn't let somebody else badmouth his brother.
Yep. Now, a few other little things. Let's talk about some of the little developments that happened before we go into the big, what your predictions are moving forward are, and just the plot as a whole. Little developments. We see a new Knight of the King's Guard picked. Sir Kristen Cole, who in episode 1 dismounted and beat the poop almost out of Daemon, right? So actual legit fighter. And from a small house at that. Sir Otto Hightower was like, yeah, but alliances and stuff. And she's like, what, you want us to not be protected by actual men who could save our lives? And you can see the commander of the King's Guard kind of smirk at that.
Yeah.
You know, I like him, the commander. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And you can tell he feels for Rhaenyra.
So I'm still unsure about that guy, only because he was saying that Otto Hightower is like helped him choose the candidates for the King's Guard. So to me, it was just like, ooh, are they in cahoots? Like, for some reason, Hightower, who I already know is super scummy and weird and manipulative, is picking the candidates for the King's Guard.
Yeah.
And the commander of the King's Guard is going along with that. That's a little weird.
Well, he kind of has to. Hand of the King takes priority over the commander. However, by Rhaenyra picking the least likely person there,
right?
You could you see him smirk, the commander of the King's Guard, and I was like, my dude knows.
Yeah,
I get a good feeling from him.
Yeah, and obviously Otto Hightower was disappointed. He was trying to get her to not choose that guy, Sir Kristen, whatever.
Yeah, I will say though, Otto Hightower's actor is killing it. Is he not?
Yeah, he makes me believe he's the scum of the earth.
But so small development. What else is a small development that happened this episode? We see Rhaenys and Rhaenyra talk, and there's some actual good wisdom there from Rhaenys. You know, some good banter back and forth. But really, I think at the end of the day, Rhaenys is trying to help Rhaenyra grow.
Rhaenys also seems very bitter as well. So Rhaenyra is like, hey, look, my dad made me. Like, she's still looking at this through these rose-colored glasses. She thinks everything's all great. Everything's all hunky-dory, right? That she's going to be the queen one day, which, you know, my predictions, I don't know. It's going to get skewed a little bit. But Rhaenys is like, look, I mean, yeah, they tell you you're going to be queen when you're holding their cups and serving them wine during their meetings. Cool.
And I'm so glad that happened before Rhaenyra flew to Dragonstone, because that's kind of what pushed her to do it. Because she was like, you know what? Rhaenys is right. I'm the fucking heir. Like, no, fuck that. I'm not holding cups no more, you know?
Yeah, screw these guys. I can stop this without any bloodshed.
Yeah, she proves, too, that she's diplomatic there, even with her talk with Rhaenys. Really, only other small development we get is the talk between Viserys and Rhaenyra, where, you know, he starts off, you could have been blah, 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 and she's like, yeah, but nobody died. I got the egg back. You're welcome. You can see him like process that shit and like, you're stronger than I gave you credit for, you know? And that's a cool thing to see. I really do like Viserys through this second episode, especially compared to the first episode. He seems like a genuinely good man. Maybe not a good king, but a good man deep down.
And see, I don't know. Maybe. I thought that before the reveal of his choice of a wife at the end. I was in the same boat because, yeah, exactly. At the end of the first episode, they have this heart-to-heart. He makes her his heir. Awesome. I feel good about him. Throughout this episode, he's just a father struggling with understanding that his child is growing up, which is something that every father seems to have that issue. So it seems very real. And
so, minor correction, Alicent Hightower is 18 when they marry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I take it back then.
That
it's
feels
still
better.
very
It feels better.
it feels better, and that's only because of social norms. It's still really weird, right? Because what is he supposed to be in his 40s?
I think late 30s, early 40s. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really weird still, like
Yeah, but
by any
he's doing a
standards.
Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, that's what
Mm-hmm.
he's doing right now.
Which is, yeah, yeah, I understand.
But what I will
Um,
say is the fact that he married for his own heart over the political stuff is the reason I say he's a. I mean, even if like he's his daughter's best friend, which is fucking annoying, sure, but it's different back then, right? Different context. It feels like he's a good man in their time, but he's not a good king because he didn't do the right choice, which is Lena, unfortunately, politically, and he put duty second to what his heart wanted. You know.
True. Yeah.
Um,
Not just duty to the kingdom, but duty to his daughter. Like
yeah.
it's kind of your duty as a father to not marry your daughter's friends. That's one of your duties. That you should not do that.
Not a dad, don't
So,
know, but I feel like I agree with
yeah,
that sentiment.
I'll tell you, that's something that you probably should not do.
Yeah. Now, as for the major developments through this, the major plot points in this episode. So obviously, it's the Daemon. Daemon's the big plot point here. You know, the big conflict that's brewing in the Stepstones was laid, and then we have Daemon's just asshole childishness, and then Corlys gets butthurt, and he starts conspiring with Daemon Targaryen.
Yeah, he's basically dropping hints to Daemon like, "Look, you've got a dragon, you've got this army
Yeah.
that you procured.
And
Why
Corlys
don't you
has
go take?"
dragons.
Yeah, he's like, "Why don't you go take care of this problem over here in these what are they called? The steps?
The Stepstones.
The Stepstones. Why don't you go take care of these problems over here in the Stepstone? Everyone's gonna respect you for it. Everyone's gonna want you to be in charge after that, and I'm gonna back you, man."
Yep. It's definitely laying an interesting forward development. With that, let's hear your predictions.
So this is where you get to see how dumb I am, because it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna be so wrong. So this is where everyone gets to laugh at me. But I might say one thing that I'm really proud of the show, not being afraid. They're not afraid of these time jumps. Right? From episode 1 to episode 2, we already get a 6-month time jump. Like I was very surprised. I was like, wow.
And they handle
They're
it well.
Yeah, they're not afraid of it whatsoever. I think because they're not afraid of doing these time jumps, the king is going to get a son from his wife, right? His new wife, his new what's her name? Allison, right? Allison Hightower.
Yes, Lady Alicent Hightower.
I think he's gonna get a son from her, and then there's gonna be this weird dynamic where he has to decide, like, do I leave my daughter as the heir, or do I like, hey, sorry, Rhaenyra, never mind, I got a son now. Everyone likes boys better, so sucks to suck.
All right.
Keep being cupbearer.
It's one prediction.
And then the other prediction I have, like simultaneously, Daemon is going to be amassing a following as well. Basically, Corlys is so pissed off at the king, he doesn't care whether it's a boy or a girl now, he just wants him out. So I think there's going to be a power struggle between the king and Daemon as well. Daemon's going to actually like be able to amass quite a following because of, right, he's probably going to have some military prowess. He has some very powerful friends that are going to go to his side, and yeah, I think he's going to end up gunning for the throne because the king's just not willing to talk to him. And now I think there's definitely a weird dynamic in that one, because I don't know how he's going to go for the throne without killing Rhaenyra, unless, I just thought of this right now, unless the king has a son, names him heir, Rhaenyra's like, screw you, that's not happening. She goes over to Daemon's side, and then they take the throne together.
So, no comment on your predictions.
Okay, yeah,
obviously.
no, please, I don't want any. I'm just saying,
not.
that last part I just thought of right now, putting those two together. But that's basically my thoughts so far.
What is your thought on Sir Criston Cole at the moment?
Honestly, I understand he was kind of a focus in this episode. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna bone Allison. He's gonna take yo girl. But
He's a
I
hot
don't.
dude. He's a hot
He's
dude.
he's much closer to her age group, and yeah, pretty
Okay.
close to the
Okay.
king.
Okay. And last question here that everyone was speculating throughout the whole season and are still speculating, although George R. R. Martin, I think, finally gave a response. What is
Okay.
going on with the king and his finger?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I think I had mentioned that, right? He's still in his failing health.
Mm-hmm.
I the in episode 1 he had like
A
a
little bit of.
boil a boil or something on his back that was in the same fashion. So I don't know if that one healed up and he has another one now on his pinky, or he's simultaneous he got leprosy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right. All in all, I gotta say, it's a great episode.
Mhm.
Even in hindsight, because I'm rewatching it before each one of these two, and I'm rewatching it with hindsight. And yeah, it's solid. All these rewatches so far, episode 1 and 2, it's really good. Everything's being laid down so well. There's no like, oh, and then Deus Ex Machina. You know,
Mhm.
it's just legit good writing. I love it. With that, Ray, out.
Thanks for watching. Hey, Nick here. If you enjoyed this video, please gently caress that like button for us.
And Ray, thanks for watching. It was a blast. Make sure to hit that subscribe if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, what me and him are doing. There. Me and him, Nick and Ray. Subscribe.